Hello and welcome, I'm Tino, and today I have good news and bad news. Let's start by the bad news. The bad news is that the killer way is destroyed on the English channel by the meta small fighter, and I'm going to explain in big numbers. And it wins in small numbers, but it loses in big numbers. Also, I noticed that a small amount in doctrines, for example, I have 135 bonus in air supremacy, with the English having 120, you massacre the English, even using the whales. But with that, just that 15%, it makes a snowball effect, and it's kind of a whole difference. So the mission efficiency is super important, and therefore remember to press this button that gives you an extra 10% in the mission efficiency. Super important. Let's see. Well, now we have 100, so it's not going to help. But you get the idea. When you are in disadvantage on the mission efficiency, especially if you are using small fighters, you press this button and you get an extra 10. That's great and makes a whole difference. And the point is that there is a round issue with paradox. It happens a lot with attrition. When you train unit, for example, you have several companies, you're going to lose 60% of your template, of your equipment, if you have, because these numbers are very small. For example, you have like 20 tanks, 16 artillery pieces, 16 anti-air, 20 anti-air, and with very small number, the attrition it's rounded to 1. So if you lose 0.2, you lose 1. If you lose 0.8, you lose 1. So in the case that you have, for example, a division, and let's mark any division, this one, and you have material from different, for example, I don't know, tanks from different types and equipment for different nations. Well, if you train this unit, you are going to lose a lot in attrition because there are going to be a lot of small numbers, and paradox round this to 1. So that's why when I train, I use a very simple template with a maintenance company, and then you lose almost 0% attrition, and then I swap to the model I want. For example, I design a template like this, and I add the company, just the maintenance company, and you can train it by losing just 1%. On the other hand, if you train this, you are going to lose 5% of this infantry equipment, about 60% of the companies in artillery. And same problem happens with the fighters. The heavy fighters are bigger, stronger, so when fighting in small numbers, for example 188 versus 400, usually the combat, or in remote areas, and when you start the war, the losses are kind of low and they are rounded to 0. So for example, if you are between 0 and 1, it's rounded to 0. And since the big plane has more defense, it has bigger chances of having an advantage there. That's why when we fight on remote areas, that means anywhere outside Europe, you have two advantages of the heavy fighter. One is the efficiency, that is super important, and also you have that rounding. So that's why when we play here in Japan on the last video, despite we were very close, we were trying to control this area, and the Japanese were in the base here and we were here. Well, the fighters do not have enough coverage to cover the whole area, so they lost a lot in efficiency, and also the numbers in rounding had the problem that I already mentioned. Also, another tip: since the engine is cheaper in days than the prototype level 40, and maybe you have The option to advance one air technology, well, you can try to rush the engine level 3. Why? Because if you put the engine level 3 into a 36 model, you're going to be able to put all full of armor instead of turrets, and that way you are going to keep your original agility and thus dealing far more damage because the enemy is going to dodge less, and you're going to gain a lot in armor. But that's only if you can rush this technology. For that, it's easier to rush, but you still need maybe some advantage in the focus tree. Also, the doctrines are super important. After clicking this doctrine, plus 15 air supremacy and all the doctrines that give you more supremacy, the effect is impressive. It makes a snowball in the test. The difference was huge. But the doctrines require a deeper analysis. I'm going to test all the doctrines because some doctrines give you pure agility or speed or direct effect. For example, this one gives you agility, and it's kind of super good too. So we need to test all the 3 doctrines. On my next test, I'm going to put all the doctrines into one plane and see the difference. And that's all for today. Thanks for watching, and I keep you updated. Bye bye, have a great day.